The one thing that we're missing here is our final else, which will take care of all of our default conditions. And you may think that we are covering everything possible here, but we are not, because these conditions require that all of these values are less than 0, equal to 0, or more than 0. So if we have one negative value and the rest of the values are positive, neither of these conditions will be true. If we have one positive and in the rest negative, the same thing will happen. None of them will be true. So we will create an else here, which will take care of all of the other conditions. And here we will create 4 different switch cases. Each of these switch cases will take care of each respective subplot. So, switch. What are we going to switch on? If we try to switch on the value itself, we have 3 cases which we want to check. We have a case where the value is negative, we have a case where the value is 0, and we have a case where the value is positive. So this means that we have to say something like case check carbs less than 0, equal to 0, more than 0, and this is not going to work. We need to give it a value. We need to give the case some value that it's going to compare against the check carbs. And we can't do this. We can't do this because the check carbs will always have a different value. It's not going to be a -1, a 0, or a 1. It's going to be minus 5.678 or 1.321, something like that. And we can't possibly cover all of these cases. The way that we are going to fix this problem is that we are going to switch on the sign of the check carb. So we're going to use the sign function. We saw it in an earlier lecture. The sign function gives you one of 3 results. It either gives you -1, a 0, or a 1. If you have a negative number, some negative number, it doesn't really matter what is the number, as long as it's negative, the sign function will give you a -1. If you have a 0, it will give you a 0, and if you have some positive number, it gives you a 1. So when we switch on the sign of the check carbs, we will have 3 cases. The cases will be -1, 0, and 1. So case -1, case 0, and case 1. And otherwise, and this is our switch case conditional statement. Now, I said that we are going to have 4 switch cases which will take care of these 4 values of the 4 subplots. So I'm just going to copy and paste it and then populate the switch cases. Or actually, let's first populate it and then copy it and paste it. So, case 1, we have a negative number, which means that we want to be green. So we're going to set data lines of 1. So here we are working on the first subplot. Color, green. We also want to change the color of the baseline. Let's make the baseline blue. Set baselines of 1, color, blue. And let's run it. There we have it. You can see now that only the first subplot became with a green color and with a blue baseline. The rest subplots don't have any changes on them. So let's copy and paste this. We have to only change the colors here. So if we get a 0, we want a yellow line, and if we get a 1, we get a red line. Let's try it again. Okay, green again, so again green, come on. Oh, there we have it. Now, all of them are red, so not what we're looking for. There we have it. Only the first subplot is in red. The baseline is again in blue. No changes in the rest of the baselines. So let's just copy and paste this switch case. We're going to copy and paste it a couple of times. All right, now, first we have the check carbs, then we have check proteins, but we also must change the indexes here. So this is now 2, 2, this is now no longer carbs, this is check fats, this is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and this is check calories, and this is on the 4th index. Now let's see if our indentations are okay. So we must move this a bit to the left and the end as well. So to switch the end, All right, the switch, and we are ready to test it. Let's run it. Wow, what do you see here? Now we have our first, third and fourth value are negative. So as you can see, our first, actually this is our first, third and fourth subplots are in green, and the second subplot is in red. So the else case and its nested switch cases will handle all of the rest of the conditions when these are not true. So first we are checking if all of them are less than 0 in our first if all of them are equal to 0 in our second else if, and if they are all more than 0 in the third else if, and if any of these conditions are true, one of these lines of code will be executed and everything below it will be skipped. But if neither of these are true, we will go inside the else case, and here all of these switch cases will execute and check what properties they should apply to each of the lines individually. So there we have it. It wasn't that hard, and it wasn't that hard because we will use the conditional statements in all of our final projects that we're going to have in the loops section and in the functions section.